Hi, I'm Beth with American Patchwork and Quilting, and today I'm sharing tips for sewing block 11 in our Bright New Day block of the month. You'll find the link to the free download in the video description. So block 11 uses strip set construction to complete this block. We did that in block 2 as well, so if you need a refresher, go check out that video. But the one thing that I do really love to use is my AccuQuilt strip cutting die. I've got my 2-inch strip die here, and it's great to use for this because you want to have really accurate cuts when you're making strip sets. That's going to set you up for success to have really accurate strips. And what I love about this die especially is it doesn't have blades at the end, so it just has the vertical blade, so it's going to cut a continuous line. If you fold your fabric, it'll cut a continuous line so you can have one whole width of fabric strip, and it's super easy in one pass. So I've got my 2 fabrics here that I want to cut, and I've placed that down onto the die, and you just want to make sure that you are on the lines, you're over the line so that it's going to cut. I need 2 strips, so you want to make sure that your fabric is wide enough to cover 3 of the lines. Just make sure it's straight, and then you can place your cutting mat on top and send it through the machine. I'm using the Go Big Electric, which is great because there's no cranking. This is perfect for people who have arthritis or carpal tunnel or other hand issues. So here we've got our strips nicely cut, and we're ready to start assembling our strip sets. When you're sewing the strips together, it's really important to have that accurate 1/4-inch seam. Be sure to practice on some scraps and measure to ensure accuracy. Here's an example of one of the strip sets from the other colorway. And this piece is supposed to be 6.5 inches long, and it's nearly a 1/4 inch short. So that's really going to affect the accuracy of your block, and it's not going to go together very well. So I would take the time to remake this strip set. Once you have your 1/4 inch seam set, you want to make sure you're sewing a really straight line. That will help you get really nice, accurate strip sets as well. So if you find your seam is a little wavy and not very consistent, you might need to adjust your speed a little bit. So it might be going a little faster or a little slower, just depending on what works best for you. If you need to stop sewing mid-seam, make sure you're stopping with the needle down. I also find that the less I pull and direct the fabric, the better. So you can see I'm just letting the machine pull the fabric. I'm not pulling on it too much. And I also notice that I tend to veer off a little bit at the end, so I use extra care when coming to the end of the seam, or just make sure you cut that portion off when you're squaring up your strip set. When you're putting your strip sets together, be sure to pay close attention to those pressing instructions. That will ensure that when you go to assemble your block, that you're going to get nice lined up seams. So you can see when I put these 2 together, those seams are going in opposite directions. They're going to nestle up right next to each other and kind of lock into place and give you a nice intersection there where those come together. So I like to put a pin on the intersection before I sew, just to ensure that doesn't shift while I'm sewing and that stays perfectly lined up. Now I'm going to assemble this block in rows. Here are the 2 completed blocks. The line I was sewing with today is called Rose by Jo Morton for Moda Fabrics. I used brown as the background for a little bit of a lower contrast look. And the second block is using Indigo Garden by Heather Peterson for Riley Blake Designs. So on this one I added the floral in the center for a little extra color instead of using the background fabric. It's so fun and bright. Once you've stitched your block 11, share it with us in our Facebook group or on Instagram using the hashtag APQBOM2021. Happy sewing!